All right, what is up, everybody? Glad to be back with you on this Bitcoin Pizza Day. If you haven't heard of the Bitcoin Pizza Day, it's basically where somebody who had Bitcoin used 10,000 Bitcoin to buy 2 Papa John's pizzas. And if you're wondering where that happened, the location is right here in Jacksonville, Florida. So there it is right there. Papa John's. Ironically, funny story with this is that I've been going to this location for multiple years now because my son likes Papa John's pizza. And one of the times that I was inside, I looked over to the right and there's the plaque. Couldn't believe it, right? That's the actual location of the Bitcoin pizzas. So anyway, just wanted to kick this video off with that, but that is not the topic of this video. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the surprise AMA that we had yesterday at the International Discord in the VIP room. So I had posted a little earlier in the day, basically that I decided to change my profile image to my Jasmy Clubhouse NFT. Here's the guy right here. He's a cool little robot. He's got the Jasmy logos. He's got, you know, the kimono, the sash here, the sweet pair of headphones, and the walking stick to guide him, right? Which is kind of fitting, you know, considering I was using a cane about a month ago. So anyhow, I switched over to that as my new profile image. This is part of the Jasmy Clubhouse NFT set that's here at OpenSea. If you want to get one of these, all you have to do is get a MetaMask wallet, put in either some Ethereum or some Matic, and bid on it. You can win one, and then you may be able to get some exclusive access. So if you haven't been to the Jasmy International Discord, let me scroll up. This is basically what it looks like. I'll move my picture over up here. So this cool little picture here was drawn by Tycho. Tycho is the head administrator here of the Jasmy International Discord, and he also has a full team of people that help operate this page. Has just short of 5,000 members, so quite a few in here. And you got basically everything you can think of on Jasmy: general insights, Etherscan news, etc. And then there's an area here for the Jasmy Clubhouse NFT that if you go and click on this NFT verify, this is going to be one of the few and only times I would ever tell you to click on something to connect your wallet, right? There's a lot of scams out there where people say, hey, connect your wallet and we'll, you know, give you an airdrop or something. And then they just steal all your money because now you've connected your MetaMask. This is different. This is actually a verified source. So if you connect your wallet here, what it does is it gives you some exclusive permissions here in the Discord. And then you may be able to join something like the VIP chat that we were in just last night. Okay. So what did that look like? Well, I wanted to kind of share that here was a screenshot that I took from the event. And basically everybody we got in here, we've got Tycho here at the bottom. There's Icy Amphibian. He's on Twitter and Reddit. If you're not following him, give him a follow. Give Tycho a follow as well. He's also on Twitter. We got Dip Metaverse, who tracks all of our numbers, our wallets, and is definitely a Jasmy fanatic, I would say. I'm sure he'll appreciate me saying that. But no, he's done just a ton of research, along with Brian right here, who's done an absolute ton. We got a member of Tycho's team right here. This guy right here, the little bunny with the mask on, that is KIR. So he is a new person in the Jasmy community. And then we had this one join up, Big Boss Waffles. I have no idea who this was, but they had the access. They joined the chat, and they were there also. All right. Akira-san, I did a post on him recently. This is him. And in a lot of the most recent Jasmy speaking engagements, whether it's a presentation, here he is with Harasan in Hong Kong. Here he is at the expo with Harasan as well. He is kind of like Hara's right-hand man at the moment. And Kira is the ambassador to Greater China. And so what was interesting when we did the AMA was that we did it audio, and Hara has been learning English, and he's working at it, but it's still challenging, obviously. Akira, on the other hand, he does not know English. So with him, it was we would have to type to him, and he would translate it, and then translate back and type back to us, right? Overall, the feel of this discussion that we had was that they really wanted to answer all the questions that we had. And when we asked Hara specifically if he was comfortable with this, he said yes. And we asked, would you be comfortable doing audio and video moving forward? And he said yes. So this is just sort of a step one of that. Okay. Now, I took notes throughout. I actually also recorded it, but my recording didn't have the audio. It only had the video, so it was pretty much useless. And Tycho did record the whole thing. He got the audio and the video, but the conversation we had was roughly about an hour and a half, and it's a very large file. So he's attempting to see if he can shrink that, send it out. If he can, that's something that I will post on the channel, okay? Now, the way these questions were, because a lot of people have been asking for more audio, more video, we posed the question in English. Hara does not have it written down, so he can't translate it. So he's having to kind of adapt on the fly and respond to whatever we were asking. And so it would go like this. One of us would ask a question, and it would take probably about 5 to 10 minutes to get a full response on it. That's kind of how it became so long. So anyhow, I took some highlight notes on some Post-its. I got a stack of Post-its here. I'll just admit it. I've got a Post-it problem. I like Post-its, and I post away, right? So anyhow, I got the notes here, and I want to run through those notes for everybody because I think it was very telling, a very good conversation that we had. So first of all, who is Jasmy marketing to today, right? And I was talking about this on a recent call the other day, that it is government, it's corporations, it's financial institutions, it's military. It is not marketing towards you and me, the retail person, first and foremost. That's not what this is. And, as some proof of that, if you go to the main website here, we go up, we can look at their news briefs section, right? These are all their news briefs. And if we go in here and look at the news briefs, this is all geared towards businesses. It's really not geared towards, individuals. Now, there's aspects of Jasmy, like the Happiness Project, that's definitely geared towards an individual. But by and large, this is more so geared towards businesses. And so with that, one of the things that Hara told us right up front was that the buyout, right? I think Dip Metaverse maybe asked the question of, or it was Brian, it was one of them asked, you mentioned that Jasmy bought out the original owner, okay? When did this happen, right? And we got a lot of information here. So first of all, the original owner of Jasmy was a company called Bellwood that, kind of had, I don't know, some shady, random insinuations here and there, right? They bankrolled Jasmy to start. However, they kind of wanted to take Jasmy in a different direction. And examples of that are something like the Jasmy Foundation sort of went in a different direction. Some of that stuff talking about the metaverse, that was them. They really kind of set the path of Jasmy kind of in mixed messaging, is what I would say, right? So Bellwood was the original owner. And what changed was roughly around last May is when this happened. They bought out the original owner. So Bellwood is no longer in the picture. This is a really good thing because this means that the actual team that's been running it owns the company, okay? So they paid out that original investment to that owner and they are no longer in the picture. Now, the next obvious question is, well, Jesse, who owns it, right? I've been wondering this for quite a while because I heard in a previous AMA recently, Hara had mentioned this buyout, but he never actually said who owned Jasmy. And so when you want to know who owns it, if you go back to this main company profile page, this is through the Japan site. This is the main site I go to. I don't go to any other site. I go to this one. This is the official one. Well, if you look at management structure, who would you think owns it? Like these three guys? No, you'd be wrong. The top two guys. So Kunitake Ando and Katsumasa Sato, they're the ones who own Jasmy. This is massively bullish, right? If there's anybody in this entire project that I would want to own this, it's these two guys, right? The former CEO of Sony and the former head of Sony Style, right? That's the precursor to the Apple Store. These are the guys that own the company, okay? That is massively bullish, right? We've got the right people owning it. We no longer have this entity that had all the money that bankrolled it. That's not in the picture. And so part of what Harl was telling us was really interesting. He said that they basically have a upper and a lower management. And he said the upper management is kind of like the older guys, which are these two, obviously. And the lower management, for the most part, is the younger guys. That's where Hara and some of the guys down here fall in, is they're sort of the lower, kind of a little bit younger management of the company. I thought that was really interesting. Now, previously, I've shared at some point in one of my videos, there was a photo from 2018 from an expo, and it had Ando and Sato. They were there together at the expo, and Masanobu Ishida at the time, who was part of the project, was not there. And I think that's telling, because I think these are the two guys that have led it from day one. And to know that they are officially the owners of it now is a really, really good thing. So that was a huge piece of news that he shared. I didn't predict that he was going to say that or let that out. But again, I mean, this is really a secret? No. Should they have put it out there? Definitely. I mean, this is super bullish kind of news that, the two of them are the ones who are basically running the company, right? So that occurred last May, and that basically removed anything with Bellwood. Now, something else that he said, and this is also super bullish, is that Jasmy has no debt. He said they have no debt whatsoever. So think about that. It's a company with no debt, okay, who bought out the original investor, and now they're kind of taken off. That is crazy. And something that I've noticed, especially if you scroll down here, is originally Morita here was an advisor. He was not an official member of the team. Now he is, okay? Now he's the chief security officer. And they recently had the patent that came out for the second encryption key. Basically, it improves your encryption of data, right? They had that patent come out, and that's directly influential by Morita, as he was also involved in the Felicar Felicia chip, all right? So it's a company that is small, purposefully to be agile, right? That's a business term, agile, agility. That's what they're going for here. And what's interesting is that he is now a full-time member, Morita, and, the guys in charge, Ando and Sato are the owners. So I thought that was pretty awesome. Now, something else that's worth mentioning is at one of the recent expos, there was a picture that showed Hagawara was there at the expo, and Kakanuma, right? So Kakanuma-san, he basically is the executive officer in charge of product service planning, corporate planning, marketing. Okay. So for the sake of the expo, with the big billboards with Jasmy and all that production, everything that went into that, that's him. I think that's why he was there. Okay. Now, who was also there was Hagawara-san, and that's even more interesting because he is the head of software development, right? And when you look back at his background here, so former president of Sony Digital Network Applications, deputy head of VIO and Mobile Business Group of Sony, CEO of Vision Arts, one of the leaders in Sony, became head of software development in 2020. He was also there. And so you ask yourself, why would he be there, right? Why is this guy, the head of software development, going to be at the expo? My rationale, my reasoning behind it is because I think the expo was there to market to businesses. yes, there could have been retail people there, but I think by and large that was for business opportunities and business partnerships. And we'll talk about that in a minute with some of these developments. Okay. All right. Let me see here. So, token economy. Here we go. So we asked about Binance. We went down the Binance rabbit hole a little bit, and Hara mentioned that Jasmy always had a good relationship with Binance US, so they were really surprised when they were delisted there, right? In terms of Binance International, when they moved Jasmy to the innovation zone, listed like a criteria of 10 items. And they never really said to Jasmy what those which one of those 10 items they didn't meet, right? My assumption all along has been that it was a low volume trading pair. And the reason why is that the USDT pair in particular, that one and the TRY, both of these, but really the top one, the USDT, has so much more volume than basically any of the others, right? So it looked like they were delisting because of the low volume pairs, and those are the ones that by and large they have removed. Where the irony in all this is that Jasmy is listed on so many exchanges with so many pairs and so many spots that even the lowest performing Binance pairs are significantly higher than many of the others, right? And so why would you remove Jasmy if it's making you money and it's not costing you anything? Great question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. In my view, I think Binance manipulated the market, right? But we didn't really go down that train of thought in this discussion. What Hara did tell us was that Jasmy is going to try and get on Binance Japan. So Binance recently acquired Sakura exchange, and they are turning that into Binance Japan. They are re-entering the the Japanese market with Binance, mainly because of regulatory change, right? And he did say that they were going to be trying to get listed on Binance Japan, okay, in particular. And Hara mentioned that their team has also been looking pretty closely and following every bit of regulation in Japan. As some of us in our research group have found that, especially Brian, if you look at the timeline of Jasmy and the way they're making certain moves, we always come back to why even stay in Japan when the environment was not friendly, right? It was not business friendly towards a blockchain company. Well, the reason is that things are changing, all right? And they're changing pretty drastically. And some examples of this, we have the smart cities, the national data strategy. We've got the G7 that they just held in Japan. You can see the various relationships that Japan is building around the world. They want to become a leader, a important voice in world discussion, etc. All of those things are happening, and then the laws are changing around crypto assets in particular. So all of that stuff is changing for the good, and that's why Jasmy has stuck it out. And this is where you got to ask one more question, where you go one step further and you say, well, how did they know that? Right? Like this is kind of the stuff that I come back to. Like, they started this thing in 2016. It's 7 years later. That's a lot of commitment, right? The only way I would commit like that is if I knew it was a sure thing, or if I had an inside scoop. And I think they do with Ando. I've always thought that. All right. All right. So moving on there from Binance is that the takeaways there, they're trying to do what they can. And going back to that term, token economy, Hara kept mentioning that, token economy. We want to create token economies. And he talked about this as well with, there was a slide at one of the recent expos that mentioned Jasmy Club, Jasmy Pro, and the Jasmy Super Wallet. And he said these are basically token economies. We want to expand this ecosystem, right? I did ask about the Super Wallet, and they just sort of kind of liked my comment, right? Where I said, the Super Wallet is something that I have been predicting for a couple years now that Jasmy needed to build. And it looks like it is in development. It's not on the roadmap. right? This is one of those things that's on the roadmap that they're working on. But what you could do with a super wallet is you could put your Jasmy coins there. You could stake them. You could earn rewards. By holding the coins in the wallet, you could get governance and voting rights. If you had a Jasmy, an NFT that was compatible with their blockchain, you could hold your NFTs there on the site, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many things you can do with it. And basically, when I posed I didn't really pose the question. I said, this is how I foresee it working, and they liked my comment. So anyhow, that was the super wallet. So that was pretty cool. So token economies is something that they're really focusing on. Stablecoin carbon credit. So the National Carbon Credit Consortium, that is a huge focus right now for the team to get that right. Hara specifically said that's a government-approved project by the government of Japan, right? There's multiple governments that are involved in that. That is a really big project that they're working on. So again, this is that kind of government corporate angle tying all that together. For the stablecoin, he only briefly talked about that. The stablecoin idea that, again, a stablecoin is a core function of any blockchain project. You have to have a stablecoin for numerous different reasons. And so they had been looking at, I think it was the JPYC as the possible stablecoin there, along with their DD coin, right? So a couple different options. Japan changing regulation. He said that's a focus for this year. They were keeping a close eye on all changing regulations. So that's been happening. And even just the other day, Lil Bidman posted a Nikkei Asia article that said that the Japanese, I think it was the Japanese stock exchange, has sort of roared to life for the first time in like 30 years. So there's a lot starting to happen in Japan in particular. Hara also mentioned 2 other soccer teams. Okay, this was a new thing. So we know that Sagan Tosu has the fan token, and he mentioned there's a soccer team from Nagano, and there was another soccer team that they were having discussions with. So there very well could be more fan token engagement with more soccer teams in the near future. So there's 2 of them on the radar, right? In terms of a barometer check, so this was interesting. So we've always asked kind of, where are we right now? People want to know, right? Where are we right now? So as of right now, here are the numbers. So the PDL has 20,000 users, okay? They want to take the PDL to 40,000 users at the end of the year. Now with this, I think it was Dip Metaverse asked this. He said, well, how are you going to get to 107 million, right? That's your KPI, and you're running out of time. And he's right. I mean, they are kind of running out of time, right? But Hara didn't really seem fazed by that. So his response was that, in particular, they were targeting Hong Kong companies. Hong Kong was kind of like the go-to, right? That's their focus. Now, outside of Hong Kong, he also name-dropped China, which we kind of thought China was off the table. China is not off the table. And now we have Akira-san as the ambassador to China, right? So we've got China back on the table. He mentioned Vietnam. He mentioned Malaysia. He mentioned India. There's numerous countries right there that between all those countries, these are some of the most populous places on the planet that could easily support the 107 million users, especially if you start going the corporate route, which is what they're looking at. We kind of look at it almost as through a retail lens of individual people. They're not looking at it like that. They're looking at it more like a corporation, and it'll be large chunks that come on board. Okay. How many companies do they have right now? Right. I've wanted to know this. I said it in a call the other day. 30. 30 is the number roughly that they have right now for companies that are working with Jasmy in partnership. Right. That was pretty big. In terms of secure PC, he said it was several hundred units, and he said it was somewhere between 400 and 500 was what he told us. I tried to get them to answer how many units are we getting out of Transcosmos, right? How many PDLs are we getting out of Transcosmos? And they never really answered that. So I don't know if they didn't understand the question, or if they just don't count it, because Transcosmos, they built Secure PC with them in partnership, and therefore they're not really counting it, right? Because I've seen estimates for Transcosmos that say 20,000 people. I've seen up to 70,000 people worldwide that they have there. And so theoretically, you could have a lot of users in Transcosmos alone, but maybe they don't count that because they're the original partner that helped them create it, right? That could be. Okay, let me move on from there. AI. So this is interesting. So Hara mentioned AI for the company was made by Recursive, Kuzit, and there's another company which I couldn't understand what he was saying when he said it, but basically 3 companies. Now, the interesting wrinkle here was this. He said that they actually had just added an ex-Sony AI engineer to the team. So another Sony connection. So I thought that was pretty awesome, right? Like, here's another person that, I mean, any one of these little things, like this could be its own little PR release if they added a Sony engineer to the Jasmy team, right? But they did not tell us that publicly. And so I think what a lot of the problem is with Jasmy is this. I think it's somewhat culture, and I think that they feel that they will not put something out there until it's 100% ready. And I think that they think good work speaks for itself. And I disagree. Okay. All right. That was weird. Just had a little error there and everything turned off, but we'll go ahead and turn it back on. So what I was saying was that I think that Jasmy as a team, and maybe as a culture in Japan, they think that good work speaks for itself. And that's true to a point. But I think that oftentimes you have to frame an argument, right? You have to tell people the good that you've done. You have to tell. And it seems like from the global community side, we're always sort of reaching for these things. Like, we want to know. And I don't even know if some of this stuff is really a secret. It doesn't seem like it. It's just that they don't, I get the impression they don't really know 100% what we want all the time, or what exactly we're looking for. And so, the language barrier is challenging. It's definitely challenging. But I think at the end of the day, if we're trying on our side and they're trying on their side, and somehow we can meet in the middle and bridge the gap, that's what we're going to do. And so the plan from our team is to definitely have more discussions with the Jasmy team moving forward, whether it be Discord or another platform. We want to do audio. We want to do video. We want to have those discussions. And I felt like this was a good first step. We got a lot of really good information. And I left thinking that this is still the project that I believe it to be. Okay, I really do. I think that this is really it's got so much working under the surface that I can see how a Binance or somebody like that really would do no research and would find nothing, right? Because I know how much hard work has gone into the various pieces of research that all the members of our team have found. So ultimately, that's where this thing landed. Did want to give a huge shout out to Tycho in particular. Let me go back to find him. So I wanted to give a huge shout out to Tycho, the guy down here at the bottom, all the guys here that were on the call, Icy, Dip, Brian, Kirasan. I can't remember this guy's name. I think that was Rico, something like that. Anyway, I'll have to get his name again. He was a member of Brian's team. The Big Waffles guy, I don't know who that was, but he called in. What was really funny was that during the call, we're asking like serious questions. We're trying to get serious answers. There was somebody that signed on that he was clearly like blazing up. It was the end of the day. He was sort of like babbling like he had, already had a few. And everybody's going, oh my gosh, like, who is that? Like, block him, get him out of the chat. So that took about 5 minutes to get that guy out of there. But it was really funny. And so ultimately, the waffle guy here, maybe he just had the NFT and he joined the chat. So who knows? But he was fine. So anyway, that was the whole discussion. Just wanted to put it out there. So if I can get a copy of that, a copy of the actual session, I will post it. Like I said, it's about an hour and a half. Sometimes it's kind of hard to follow, but I tried to do my best to give you the highlights here. If there's something I missed, let me know, and we can kind of expand upon it from there. But just wanted to give you a good summary here on Bitcoin Pizza Day. Hopefully you all go out, get some Papa John's or whatever kind of pizza you want tonight. It's a good day for a pizza. It's Monday, right? So anyhow, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always says your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.